You have already failed your 2026 goals. This is not an attempt to scare you or devalue your plans. It is a fact rooted in reality. 95% of New Year's resolutions crash and burn before the middle of January. In the weeks leading up to the new year, we buy new notebooks, create vision boards, and meticulously document our goals. We genuinely believe that this time everything will change. Yet, we often find ourselves in the following December, exhausted, realizing nothing fundamental shifted, and then we start planning all over again. Sound familiar? This cycle happens not because you lack ambition, but because there is a fundamental flaw in your strategy. Your resolutions fail because they focus on intention, not allocation. You confuse wishing with winning. Your life, right now, is not a product of your grandest dreams. It is a mirror reflecting two things: your calendar and your bank account. You vote with your time and your money. Every minute you spend scrolling, every dollar you spend on passive consumption is a vote cast against the person you claim you want to become. You want financial freedom, but you invest in convenience and distraction. Think about this. The single most expensive thing you buy every single day isn't a luxury car or a penthouse. It's tomorrow. You spend your most valuable finite currency, time, on fleeting comfort, mortgaging your potential for momentary pleasure. If you're ready to stop selling off your future at a discount, you need a different plan. You need a formula designed not just for success, but for personal transformation. It's named the 4D Transformation Matrix. Destroy, eliminating the anchors that keep you tethered to mediocrity. Deploy, activating action to escape the gravity of inertia. Develop, systematically building the skills that cannot be taken from you. DEFY, mastering the persistence required to cross the valley of despair. This isn't about making 2026 better. This is about building a new identity, one that is resistant to distraction and inevitable failure. The only version of you that will ever experience joy, success, or life is current you. Future you is a concept. Current you is the only asset you control. So, if you're serious about the 4D matrix, don't wait for January 1st to be the hero. Get started now. In the comments below, name one thing you've been planning to start next year, but are going to begin today. Your move. Let's get started. The first step in the 4D matrix is destroy. The problem isn't that you haven't started building your success. The problem is that you are trying to build it on top of a chaos. You cannot introduce anything great until you have created a mental vacuum where success can take root. You have to eliminate the things that occupy your time and attention without adding corresponding value. Commitment is not about adding a new goal to your list. Commitment is the elimination of all alternatives. Let's move on to practice. Step 1. Social anchors, cutting the ropes. Your life is defined by the quality of the people you allow closest to you. Most people surround themselves not with an uplift group, but with a social drag coefficient. These aren't necessarily bad people. They are anchors, chain-locking you to your past shore. They derive pleasure, not from your ascent, but from your availability, your constant presence, your predictable routine, your shared mediocrity. They value your time more than they value your success. The fundamental shift you must make is to understand that busy friends are better friends. People who are chasing something great are often unavailable because their vision demands their time. The friend who is always free at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday is likely stuck in the same place you are trying to leave. The 5 anchor questions. Before you sever ties, test your most frequent relationships with these 5 brutal questions. If someone told you that you acted exactly like this friend, would you take it as a compliment or a severe warning? Do they celebrate your progress, or do they subtly remind you of the potential risks and failures? Do you feel pressure to shrink yourself, your goals, your language, your dress, to match their scale? Do you like this friend for who they are today, or do you only like the nostalgic idea of who they used to be? If you had a future child, would you actively want them to seek advice and mentorship from this person? If you answered negatively to 3 or more, that relationship is not a friendship, it is a tax on your potential. Step 2. The echo of mediocrity, tuning out the noise. Once you address the anchors, you must deal with their echoes, the opinions of people who are not playing the same game as you. Most high-achieving people are called obsessed, toxic, or workaholics by those who haven't accomplished anything significant. This is not concern. It is envy disguised as advice. Winners focus on the target. Losers focus on why the winners didn't deserve their victory. Criticism, judgment, and hate always flow downhill. If someone is criticizing your speed, it's because they are standing still. You must build a filter around your decision-making. When facing a critical life choice, don't ask what your mom, your uncle, or your childhood friend would think. Ask yourself, what would my hero think? Transpose the decision-making calculus of your heroes, the people closest to your goals, onto your situation. Let their standards dictate your action, not the comfort level of those who have already accepted defeat. Step 3. The ecology of focus, taming the digital jungle. Your physical and digital environment is the final category of distractions. If you cannot sit still, ignore notifications, and dedicate hyper-focused, uninterrupted blocks of time to a single task, you cannot build anything great. Great achievements require long, deep, often uncomfortable hours of output. Every notification, every ambient sound, every check of your email is a crack in the dam, leaking your cognitive energy. You are not running out of time. You are running out of uninterrupted attention. To fix this, you need a strategy, not willpower. The digital lockdown, the gray filter test. Immediately switch your phone screen to grayscale, black and white. Studies show that the lack of stimulating color reduces passive consumption and increases your awareness of the device's function as a tool, not a toy. The permission paradox. Turn off all notifications for all apps. You never want to give an application permission to decide when it is convenient to disrupt your life. You pull information when you need it. You do not allow apps to push it. The emergency barrier. Utilize a do not disturb mode that allows 0 people to break through unless they call 911. If it's a true emergency, the phone is useless anyway. If it can wait, it must wait. The analog countermeasure, time tracking. You must track your actual output, not your perceived effort. The time logger. Use a timer for every single work block. Before you start a task, estimate how long it should take, for example, 45 minutes. Hit start. If you are interrupted for any reason, immediately pause the timer. You only resume the timer when you resume 100% focus. This will give you an objective, brutal look at how much time you think you work versus how much time you actually produce results. The biggest win in the destroy block is realizing that focus is a subtractive process. You do not try harder to concentrate. You simply remove everything that prevents concentration. What is left is pure focus. For 2026, stop creating a list of things to add. Create an anti-vision board, a list of all the habits, people, and time sinks that you are committing to eliminate forever. This is the only way to create the mental space required for the greatness you are about to deploy. You've successfully executed destroy. You've cleared the clutter, silenced the critics, and cut the anchors. Now the vacuum is ready. The next step in the 4D matrix is deploy, the activation of sustained intelligent action. This is where most ambitious people stall. They clear the deck, look at the blank space, and wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect feeling. You must overcome 2 critical obstacles here: the illusion of ease and the lie of identity. Step 1. The cost of ambition, the misery to reward ratio. We live in a highlight reel culture. You see the finished product, for example, the athlete with the medal, but you skip the running of the marathon. You only see the start and the finish line. This creates the most dangerous expectation of all, that success should be easy. Here is a harsh truth. The more difficult the task, the higher the reward. If a goal were cheap, everyone would own it. The only reason a reward is valuable is because of the toll it exacts on those who pursue it. That toll is the price tag. Success is an iceberg. 10% is visible above the water. That's the money, the recognition, the finished product. 90% is the unseen mass beneath the surface, the crippling self-doubt, the missed family events, the early mornings, the late nights, the rejections, and the solitude. If you are not willing to pay the 90% in unseen misery, you do not get to claim the 10% on the surface. If your complaint about a project is that it is too hard, you are not describing the reality of the task. You are describing the false expectation of ease you brought into it. You must rephrase your grievance. I had false expectations about the required price tag for this goal. Accept this. The necessary misery is the barrier to entry. It's what keeps the average out. And it's why the reward is high. Stop hoping it will cost less. Start investing enough effort to afford the goal. Step 2. The spaceship launch, escaping gravity. Many people treat their big goals like a light jog. They pace themselves gently, waiting for momentum to naturally build. But starting anything worthwhile is not a jog. It's a spaceship launch. A rocket burns 90% of its fuel in the first few minutes just to achieve escape velocity, to break free from the gravitational pull of the Earth. Or in your case, the gravity of your old habits, your old friends, and your existing schedule. If the rocket conserves its fuel and launches gently, it will simply fall back to the ground. You need to deploy maximum sustained force at the start to break free from inertia. This maximum effort means 2 things. Stop waiting for ready. The perfect moment, the perfect plan, and the perfect mood do not exist. You start now, with an imperfect map, and you refine it while you are moving. Reject the new eye trap. You cannot become the new version of yourself by waiting. You become that person by acting as that person immediately. Step 3. Identity shift. Doing is being. The biggest lie you tell yourself is about your identity. We all have those self-limiting statements. I'm not a morning person. I'm bad at public speaking. I'm not tech-savvy. These are not permanent traits. They are merely a log of your recent repeated actions. You don't become a writer when you get published. You are a writer the moment you sit down and write the first word of the day. You don't become financially disciplined when your savings hit $1 million. You are financially disciplined the moment you choose to save the $10 today instead of spending it. Your identity is 100% under your control, because you control what you do. If you want to change your life, you must switch your avatar. Stop living like the person who resigned, and start performing the daily rituals of the person who succeeds. You must stop telling yourself, I am bad at math. This is a choice. I am disorganized. This is a choice. I am just naturally lazy. Again, this is a choice. Instead, choose the action that defines the desired identity. If you want to be known as a well-read person, you read at least a couple of pages a day until this skill is embedded. You are far more pliable than you give yourself credit for. Step 4. The power of today. Rejecting the special occasion. Finally, deploy means starting today. Why wait for January 1st? Waiting implies that you need a special occasion to treat your life seriously. It implies that ordinary Tuesday, the only day you actually control, is not valuable enough to warrant your maximum effort. The earliest you start, the earliest you gain experience, the earliest you get feedback, and the earliest you succeed. If you could cash in a winning lottery ticket tomorrow, would you wait a few months? Of course not. Your potential success is that lottery ticket. The only day you have leverage over is today. Deploy your action now. You have destroyed the distractions and successfully deployed massive, sustained action. Now you enter the phase that guarantees long-term success. Develop connections, wealth, physical appearance. These are all valuable, but they can be lost, seized, or inflated away. Your only unbreakable asset is your skill stack. You must view yourself as a product under constant, relentless development. The person who improves every second of every day, refusing to accept their current level, will always beat the person who started with more money, better looks, or more connections. 1. The anti-inflation asset. Skills as infinite leverage. If you want stability, you invest in real estate. If you want maximum return, you invest in yourself. Most people try to generate wealth by betting on external factors, the stock market, a trending crypto coin, a new political climate. but your skills are the ultimate anti-inflationary asset. No law can confiscate the knowledge in your head. No economic downturn can dilute your ability to perform a high-value function. And no divorce or relocation can take away your expertise. If you spend $10,000 and 20 hours learning a skill that doubles your earning capacity, that $10,000 investment did not yield a 10% return. It yielded an infinite return because the skill keeps paying you back for the rest of your life. This is why ambitious people buy skills, and they pay for them with time and money. 2. The catalog of informed failures. Many people fear failure because they see it as the opposite of success. This is a debilitating mindset. Failure is not a debt. It is a fully paid tuition fee for a necessary lesson. Every time you fail, you receive the most valuable resource available: feedback. Feedback is knowledge, and knowledge increases the likelihood of success. Your first 100 attempts at anything, whether it's launching a podcast, coding a product, or starting a cold outreach campaign, are simply your tuition fee for entry into the field. You must be willing to pay that fee in full. If you quit after 10 tries, you walked away from the school before you could graduate. Your goal isn't to win. Your goal is to build your catalog of informed failures. The best entrepreneurs in the world have the biggest failure resumes. We have all seen entrepreneurs who failed and came back stronger. Why? Because they still possessed their ultimate asset, the skill set and education gained from the struggle. You can lose everything material and build it back, because the skills remain. 3. Buying time. The proxy investment. The greatest luxury you can buy is time. While you can't buy minutes on a clock, you can buy the future at a discount. How? By investing in knowledge that fast-tracks your learning. Imagine you need to assemble a highly complex machine. Most people will spend years trying to figure this out independently, buying unnecessary tools, making every possible mistake, and ultimately failing to reach the goal. The resourceful individual, however, spends their savings on an engineer who has successfully assembled this exact machine before. They pay the engineer to draft the blueprint, select the right tools, create an action plan, anticipate potential errors, and guide them to a fully functioning mechanism. That individual isn't paying for the engineer's time. They are paying to shave years off their own path to the result. This is why you must aggressively invest your capital into education, mentorship, and high-level masterminds. You are using money as a proxy for time. If you have $10,000 saved, option A, put it in a low-yield index fund, hoping for a modest return. Option B, spend it on a skill or course that quadruples your annual earning capacity. The person who chooses option B is living 5 years in the future. They are willing to temporarily be broke in money, but instantly rich in skills. 4. The fuel of will, resourcefulness versus resources. Finally, develop requires accepting that the power of your will, your resourcefulness, is always more important than the resources you currently possess. If you are not from a background of wealth, you have to temporarily borrow someone else's measuring stick. You must ask, would the person I aspire to be, that industry titan, that celebrated leader, pursue this task with this level of effort? If the answer is no, why are you doing it? You must accept that development is not a one-time win. It's an improvement loop. Do something, see what worked, get feedback. Do more of that thing and less of what didn't work. Do it again and again and again. To achieve success, 20 hours of focused practice is enough. Just 20 hours. The problem: many people put it off for years before even starting the first 15 minutes. Start building your skill stack today, because that is the only asset that guarantees your long-term win. You have destroyed the bad, deployed the action, and developed your skills. You are now the exception. But being the exception means you will face exceptional resistance. The final step is DEFY, mastering persistence and making the commitment to never ever stop. 1. Laser refusal. The black curtain of focus. In the early stages, focus was about removing easy distractions like your phone. Now, as your skill grows, you face a harder challenge saying no to genuinely good opportunities. True focus is not a spotlight on one thing. It is a black curtain pulled down around everything else. New opportunities will appear. They will be shiny, profitable, and persuasive. But every new project, no matter how lucrative the upside, carries its own unforeseen downside, its own skeletons. Most people see a new opportunity and jump immediately, abandoning the project they were just building. They fall into the loop of uninformed optimism, the excitement of the new start, only to hit the value of despair, the hard reality of the work required, and quit again. To defy this cycle, you must stick with your existing commitment until you fully understand all the skeletons of the current problem. 2. The final stand. Hardship is temporary. Here is the most encouraging truth about the journey. Hardship does not last forever. No matter how hard the work feels in the moment, only 3 things can happen. You quit, you lose everything. It gets easier. External factors change, for example, market shifts. Technology improves. You get better. Internal skills change. You become tougher, faster, more efficient. In all cases, the hard part ends. You only lose when you quit, before one of the other 2 outcomes occurs. 3. The 100 reps rule, cementing the habit. Sustained persistence requires non-negotiable volume. This is the 100 reps rule, the minimum non-negotiable volume required to embed a skill into your muscle memory. If you want to master a skill, you must perform 100 reps of the action that generates results, 100 daily cold outreaches, 100 minutes of focused content creation, 100 ads tested. You are not looking for a miracle. You are looking for data and embedding skill. Success will come when your daily actions are so deeply drilled into your routine that they require zero conscious thought, allowing you to use your brain power to develop the next skill. Your victory is inevitable. The cycle of destroy, deploy, develop and defy means you are building a life designed for long-term survival and exponential growth. Your only focus is on being the one person who refuses to quit. This suffering you feel now will fade into memory. In the end, no one will ask you how long it took or how hard it was. They will only see what you have built, and you will only remember the feeling of having earned your victory. Your final challenge for 2026 is simple. Defy. Never stop running. Never stop getting better. Go win.